Have you been trying to shallow the shaft in your downswing? I'm going to show you why we need it to happen, where the problems arise, and how to fix it. A big warm welcome back to the channel, guys. Thanks for being with me. Today let's talk about shallowing the shaft in the downswing. Probably one of the biggest questions I get asked, or certainly commented on by many a golfer. The shallowing of the shaft is when we see the downswing shaft pitch more laid down than the shaft pitch on the way up. To show you what probably you're experiencing, and funnily enough, Brad Wise, one of my YouTube subscribers that found me on Skillist, and we've done some work, I'm going to actually show you the changes he's made in his golf swing in just 2 sessions. He had, and like many of you, a shallow shaft on the way back and a steepening shaft on the way down. So it looks shallow to steep, and inevitably that profile of shaft pitch causes the club to swing outside in at 5 degrees. We have quite a strong angle of attack, but this can fluctuate. Just because we see an outside in or a steepening shaft doesn't always mean that we see a steep angle of attack, but it would be steeper than normal, and a face angle open at 4.8. Let's understand why your club shaft is first of all trying to steepen in the downswing. Number one, the absolute top of the pile, no questions asked, the steepening of the club shaft on the way down is trying to help you square the club face. So the shaft going steeper, let's understand what's happening with the forearms. The left forearm is turning to the left as you look at it, or to the right actually, to left for me. And your right forearm is trying to turn to the left as well. And what that's doing is the more the club face points towards the ball line, the more a golfer will feel like he won't hit the ball to the right. If I was to get that club shaft and now put the club shaft more shallow, and I simply pull that golf club on that line, can you see where that shaft is pointing? The shaft is pointing off over there. You can see that the golf ball goes off to the right. Club path was inside out 8.5 degrees. I put the shaft back into a steeper pitch, so it now looks over to the left, and that's quite a severe one, but I'm sure lots of you have that out there. I now pull that golf club on that line, the golf ball goes to the left. If you are one of those golfers that has a ball flight that bends to the right, let's try and get TrackMan data on that one. Let's do that again. That was quite extreme outside in. Hopefully it got it. No, it won't get it. Shaft steepen, swing to the left. That'll get that one. So the shaft is outside in, or the path is outside in 10.2. Thing to also reference on that shot there, you can still see that the face to path value was still open. And to dispel the myth that when we swing outside in, we always hit a fade, I can make that face to path value, even with a path line to the left. If I make the face close to that path, the path can travel to the left, the face can look to the left of the path. So you can see I've still got a path outside in at 11.9, but the face to path value is equally closed at 11.9, so I've now hit a pull draw. Dispelling the myth that outside in causes a slice and inside out causes a draw. Absolutely doesn't. The relationship between the club face and the club path causes either the ball to bend left or bend right. If we have a face closed to the path line, if the path line is going left and the face looks left of that path line, and we can see that on that shot I've just hit there. The path line was to the left at 11.9. The face angle was even further to the left of the target at 23.8. The differential between the path line and the face line was nuts and bolts 11.9, and that caused the ball to bend to the left. If I now make that path outside in and I now have a face open to that path line, I swing across the back of the golf ball. The face is now open to that path line. So swing across the back of it. Got a path line to the left at 11.6, not the 11.9, but 11.6. I've now made the face point to the right of that. I know I'm labouring the point here, and it feels, get on with it, Stuart. The point is that if you don't understand that the path line in relation to where the face is pointing will cure the bend in the sky that you see, you'll understand that changing the pitch of the shaft is not the full story. Because if I now change the pitch of that shaft and I now put the club shaft shallow, so I've got the shaft laid down, I'm absolutely going to hit it with the shaft laid down. Why then is the golf ball chopped up into the air and hit it to the right? I've hit from the inside, and for all of those golfers out there that believe having a shallow shaft and hitting from the inside is the remedy, you're absolutely wrong. You are absolutely wrong. Twice on Sundays. So if you have worked solely on changing your path and you were lured into the fact that you were trying to lay the shaft down, and then when you hit one out to the right, you were then told, well, now you need to release the face. And now you need to release the toe over the golf club. There you go. I tried to swing from the inside. I tried to release the club over the, release the toe over the heel. And this is the flip. This is what we class as the flip. The toe trying to point to the floor. That's a flip. That's a roll. That's a rolling of the forearms, which absolutely has to be, but it's also a rolling of the wrists as well, the wrist angles. So I swung from the inside, but I didn't close the face. I'm going to try to do it again inside, and I'm now going to try to close the face over, which is absolute garbage. So the club's from the inside, and I closed the face over, didn't get the face number. So let's understand then, number one, shallowing the shaft out will not make you draw the golf ball. Just think about that for a moment. It will not make you draw the golf ball. Let's therefore understand what will make you draw the golf ball with a shaft that's shallow. A face angle that is more closed to the path line. And the biggest way and the best way to do that is change the grip. Yay! I can't remember, I must be 6 or 7 or 8 minutes in, and I've talked about the grip. The grip, go see my grip series videos, the Essential Grip Guide. It's an absolute must. Absolute must. Sort the grip out, lion's share of your problems will start to disappear. So I'm going to take it that you've got a grip that is appropriate to delivering the face more aligned to the path line. Now we need to fix, because if you now were to swing the golf club and you were to steepen and you kept on hitting pull draws, so the ball's out, the ball's off to the left, I'm swinging outside in, and the club face is close to that path, it wouldn't be very long before you stop trying to swing in outside in. And if you've checked out a video I did with my club path videos with lessons, and I'm going to do some more lessons in the foreseeable future, you understand that actually the golfer, the more he starts to feel the face close to the path, all of a sudden they orientate themselves a little differently. So that's understanding that the shaft pitch might change the path line, but it absolutely won't make you draw the golf ball. So that's number one. Number two is understanding the momentum the head has in a golf swing. the momentum of the head when we swing the golf club away, most golfers that have got real prevalence in this over the top and steepening motion will have a club face open at strike, but it's understanding why it's so open. Now, Brad, the client I mentioned at the start, had a really, really strong right hand. And his really strong right hand caused the club to steepen on the way down. So in his case, I actually had to make the right hand weaker, put the right hand more on top, because what the right forearm does, and this, what I'm about to talk about now, is understanding what the grip does on the momentum of the club head and its weight in space. So if I was to have a right hand on top that's really, really weak, my right forearm would want to externally rotate, would want to roll to the right. And in doing that, it would give me a much better chance of having a shaft pitch more laid down in the golf swing. But as you can see, it would open the face up. If I balanced out a weaker right hand with a much stronger left hand, my right hand would actually start to help this club at the top start to lay down. Now, the club shaft laying down in transition, so when we pull the golf club, we see some of the best players in the world, their shaft starts to lay down as they pull down. That is an external rotation of the forearm. So for all of those golfers out there that said that there was no rotation of the forearms, well, if you're looking for a shaft to lay down, there has to be some form of rotation in the forearms to make this shaft lay down. And if you want the shaft to lay down, the energy in the handle needs to go that way and the club head needs to fall this way. If you want the shaft to lay down, the last place you would want to do is push the butt down to the floor. Because if you were to push the butt down to the floor and keep your back to the target, you would steepen the shaft at this point. And that point then makes the face look more at the target, which is why the remedy of pumping the arms down and keeping your back to the target has helped golfers square the face up. But it makes you as weak as a kitten because you're only using your arms. And then you get the guys that say, well, don't pull the golf club. Well, what on earth are you doing here? You're pulling the golf club down. Why not pull it in the right direction that starts to waken up your body? When we then understand that the grip is going to sort the face out, the shaft pitch is going to help our path, what we do in the backswing to set up the ability to make the shaft shallow out is the real nugget, is the real key. And I'm going to show you how to do that. If any of you have seen my broom videos, which I absolutely guarantee you will enjoy, and I think you should go out and watch, understanding how we move the golf club away is a real influence on how the golf club starts to transition. The more a golfer swings the club head inside, so we swing the club inside, you can see that the club face is pointing at the TV screens here. Why might the club head swing inside? Well, the lion's share of golfers, when they watch golf being played, they see the club being dragged to the side of the golf ball. They see the club moving around. For the best players in the world, actually what's happening is there's a pressure down in the handle and the head's lifting. Whether they know it or whether they don't know it, that is what's happening. So as the golfer starts to pull the club away, because my hands, in essence, are slightly stronger, it will make my forearms in takeaway try to rotate, and they won't, but they will the influence and the energy will rotate to the left. And if my forearms are trying to rotate to the left and not rotate to the right, you can see the difference that golf club has on the way back. I go stupid strong, I move the golf club away, look where the handle goes and look where the face goes. Shut as a barn door, handle inside. I now go around to the other side, I now take my club away. Now the handle goes out, face swings in, club opens up. So the grip enables us to have pressure on the butt of the golf club. Now if you watched my video that I put out on Saturday, which was talking about power impact, that's an absolute beauty for you to understand this handle at strike and handle pressure at strike. Got in the gym, talked about cable machines, etc. So when we then understand how influential the grip is in changing the way our forearms work as we take away, when I start to apply the pressure and force, all of a sudden I start to prop the head up because the handle in takeaway is now more underneath the club head. And so we now have this head trying to swing over the handle. So as I start to put force and down, as I start to take the golf club away, the club head is being propped up because I'm trying to push the handle down, as opposed to most golfers that are trying to fix this error here are invariably trying to take the club wider. And all you're doing is you're moving your left hand further away from the direction your chest is trying to move in. And in doing that, that's going to start making the face open more. And as you make then the face open more, the last thing that you'd want to do is make it more shallow, because as you can see from this broom drill, and the broom pointing to the left is towards the target, as I make my shaft more shallow at this point in the downswing, look where the broom head, this is towards the target, look where the broom head is pointing. If I make the shaft steeper, or even steeper, look where the broom head is pointing. It's now pointing down at the ball to target line. If you're someone that slices the golf ball, you are going to want to feel more of this because that makes you feel secure at this part in the golf swing to hit the ball on target line. But all you're actually going to do is you're still going to swipe across it with an open blade. All of a sudden, when you start to make draws happen because you hold the club better, the face all of a sudden, you'll feel more comfortable with feeling like the face will sense that it's open at this point, because when the shaft lays down, that's exactly what it feels like, but you can't feel that until you've battled the left. So understanding that when you start to apply the pressure on the handle and we start to get the mass, the heavy end, I don't like that word mass, the heavy end is much easier to understand. The heavy end starts to fall over the handle, then we can start to use the pressure on the handle to start to work it back to straight. So this shallowing of the shaft is purely the momentum and the weight of the head trying to fall itself over. So we start to apply the pressure as we start to pull, that energy of the club head has now pulled itself over the handle, and it's like the hub of the wheel is the handle, and we're trying to make the club head run around the rim of the wheel. It's running around the rim of the wheel, and then we pull it. It runs around the hub of the wheel, then we pull it. Now I can put pressure and force in the handle to get it all to line back up. So it's pretty much understanding that the head weight is causing the forearms to change their orientation to accommodate the shaft laying down that allows you to line it all back up down at the bottom. But if I then made a swing down at the bottom and I do exactly the same, and now the face is open, can you see why I wouldn't do that for very long? As soon as I do that, the next thing I'm back into is trying to get the club head over. See shaft lay down for what it truly is. Understand why it must be, understand how it evolves, and the ingredients that you need to change to start to have an influence on that. And then once you put the ingredients in place, you can just usher someone into that direction. And before you know it, you've got it. I'm going to show you Brad's before and after. Simple stuff. I hope you've enjoyed that. I think you'll find that's good coaching. I wish you all a great week. See you soon.